Now we are ready to create the unarmed blend spaces. So let's start here. What I usually start with is over here in the details panel, we have a horizontal axis and a vertical axis. So if you just click on the small arrows, you can see all of this information. Usually on the horizontal axis, we have the movement direction. So just go ahead and call it movement direction. You can also see it changes name down here. Now up here, we have the movement speed, and this is the vertical axis. So let's call it movement speed. Now for the movement direction, we are going from a minimum to a maximum value. The minimum is minus 180 degrees and the maximum is 180 degrees. So this is how we can turn 360 degrees. And now over for the movement speed, usually what I do here, for example, this is the running. And if we go over to the character, if we click on the player and click on the player base, and inside of the player base, we click on the character movement component. You can see here that the max walk speed, which is also the running speed, it is set to 600 right now. Usually what I do is I set it to about a half of what is written down here, because if you write 600, then you have to reach the speed of 600 before you can transition fully into that animation you want to transition to, the running animation. So I usually write 300 because when I reach the speed of 300, which I do really quick because my full speed is 600, then I transition to the running speed a lot faster. So I usually just make it lower to of what it is here. So I'm just going to write 300 for this one. And for the movement direction, I am going to increase the grid divisions here because I have more animations than 4. So I'm going to write 8. We have an 8 directional movement. You can see now I have more lines here. And this is how we want it to be. Now, this is the only thing you want to do inside of here. Let's click on save for this details panel for now. Now over here in the graph, now what you can do is right now we want to make the run animation for the unarmed. So down here at the speed of 0, this is where you have the idle animation. So at the speed of 0, we're just standing still. Now over here, if we search for idle, we find this one called idle unarmed. So let's take this one, idle unarmed, let's drag it, and we have to drop it down here where the movement speed is 0. Now, if you hold shift on your mouse while you drag it, you can see it snaps to the grid. And this is what I want. I want to snap it down here. So if you place it, you can see the character is now idling with an idle animation. Now let's click and drag this and again hold shift to snap it. Just go ahead and click and drag it into all of these grid points down here. So just take the idle animation and all the way here, it's just the idle animation because the speed is 0. Now over here, when the speed is full, let's take the run animation. So if I just search for run, and right now we are in the unarmed. So if you just go here, you can see this one's called F. And F is forward, B means backwards, BL, for example, means back left, and BR means back right, and so on. So for this one, we want the run forward, but being unarmed. So run forward here, and you can see this one called unarmed. You can drag this one, again, hold shift and put it up here. And now if you hold control on the keyboard and you move your mouse, you can see that you can transition from the idle animation. And if you move your mouse while holding control on your keyboard, you can transition to this one. So you can see what it looks like. And this is what a blend space is. So now over here, actually, I'm going to click on this button to show you the sample names so you can see what I have placed and it will be easier for you as well. So over here, instead of searching for run, I'm actually going to search for unarmed, just like that. I think it will be easier for me and I can see all my run unarmed animations. So over here to the right, we have the front right. So this one called front right, I'm going to drop it here. And then we have the right over here. So I'm going to take the one called right, drop it here. And then this one is back right. So I'm going to take the back right. And at the end, at the corner, is the back movement. So I'm taking the back and put it here. So you can see if I hold control and I move to it slowly, you can see my character is transitioning. Just like that. Everything is looking correct. He walks backwards and then he walks back. And for this one, it's just the opposite of this. This is the left side. So running front left. So I'm going to take this one front left, hold shift, place it. And this one is left. So I'm going to find left and then back left, taking this one called back left. and this one called back again. So just like in the other corner, we have the back movement here, and we also have the back movement here because we're turning 360 degrees around. All right, so this is my animation and everything's looking correct. So this is what it's supposed to look like. So we have the front movement, and then we have the left movements and the right movements. And now we are actually finished with the running unarmed. So you can hold control, see what it looks like when you transition. Now you have to do this with the other ones as well. So I'm just going to show you one more quick example. I'm just going to go through it quicker now. If you just go back to the player animations, let's right click, go to animations, make a new blend space. Now select the character again, the skeleton that we created, call it BS. This time I'm going to call it crouch because now we are crouching, and again call it unarmed. And the last one, let's actually right click again. Let's go to animation, go to blend space, select the skeleton, call this one BS walk because now we are walking, and call it unarmed. So this one we have to make as well. Clicking on the crouch, again over here in the horizontal axis, we have the movement direction, and then we have the movement speed. And as the movement, we are moving from minus 180 to 180. And the grid division is 8 because we have 8 movements that we need to add down here. And for the movement speed, again, this one is for the crouching. Now, crouching is a lot slower than the walking speed. And again, you can go back if you want to the player base, click on the movement component, and take a look at the crouch speed. So right now it's 300. So I'm just going to put it to 150, the half of that for now. And we can always, like later on, we are going to change all of this movement because we have to test the player in the game and see how fast he's running. And we can always come in here and change this value here. Okay, so now that we have that over here to the right, now we need, this is the crouch one, crouch unarmed. I'm just going to write underscore unarmed, and we have all of these crouch. So for the first one is the idle one. So I'm going to take this one anim crouch idle. I'm going to hold shift, place it down here, just click and drag the same crouch idle on all of these points down here because the movement, again, the movement speed is 0, so we are just idling. Next, we have the front movement. So we are going to take the front here, front unarmed, and then over here are the right movement. So this one is front right, so dragging front right. The other side is front left, so front right, front left. Then we have the right here, so dragging the right one, and the left one is the on the other side. On this one is back right, so dragging back right, and on the other side is back left. And then we have the back movement on these sides. Okay, so we can again hold control, see what it looks like. Everything's looking fine. Go ahead and save. And I'm just going to make the last one and I will get back to you. All right, so here I have finished the walking and I can enable the labels so you can see what I did. Just like before, the right movements, the left movements, and also the idle down here. So nothing new. Let's go ahead and save. And let's go ahead and close it down. And here we have all the blend spaces for the unarmed movement. Now later on, we also have to create it all over again for the rifle and for the pistol. But let's not worry about that for now. Let's jump over to the animation blueprint.